Welcome back to Investing Talk podcast. So today we are taking a closer look at BigBear.ai Holdings, based on what you've shared with us. You're really interested in what's going on with this company and want to get a concise picture of their situation.
Exactly. It seems like a lot is happening.
Yeah. We have some interesting pieces of the puzzle. We have news about a new partnership, an overview of the company itself, and then we'll look at the stock performance and some technical analysis too.
Should be interesting.
Yeah. We'll try to break it all down for you and see what really stands out. So let's jump right in. The big news making the rounds is this partnership BigBear.ai has formed with SoftPoint.
That's right.
And it looks like they're going to be integrating BigBear.ai's TrueFace facial biometric solutions.
Facial recognition.
Yeah, into SoftPoint Pay's point-of-sale systems.
Yeah, I think this is what we're going to see more and more of, this
Yeah.
merging of AI and everyday transactions.
Yeah.
And this one is interesting because of the potential benefits they're highlighting.
Yeah, what do they say it's going to do?
Well, they're saying it's going to enhance security, by reducing fraudulent transactions, hopefully. And they're also emphasizing streamlined operations and improved customer satisfaction when it comes to those payment processes. I mean, we've all been there when things get held up at checkout and everyone gets frustrated.
Right, of course.
So if they can actually deliver on those promises, well, that could really be a game changer in how people perceive the technology.
Absolutely. And it also raises the question for investors of whether this kind of tangible application is what's needed for companies like BigBear.ai to, really demonstrate the value of their AI tech. Maybe it's not just about the technology itself, but how it solves real problems.
I think that's a really important point. A lot of times AI can seem very abstract and futuristic,
Right?
but when you see it integrated into something as commonplace as paying for groceries or buying clothes, it suddenly becomes much more real and investors start to see the concrete potential.
Exactly. So how's the stock been doing?
Well, let's take a look.
Is the market reacting to this at all?
Right now, it's sitting around $2.97 cent share, which is actually down about 1% recently.
Interesting.
But to really get the full picture, we need to look back a bit further. Over the past year, this stock has been on quite a roller coaster ride. It's hit a high of $10.36
Wow.
and a low of $1.17. So yeah, it's definitely been volatile.
Huge swing.
Yeah.
So, it does make you wonder if this partnership news could be a factor in either stabilizing the price or even generating some renewed interest. Sometimes positive developments can be a catalyst for change.
Absolutely. And it'll be interesting to see how investors react in the coming weeks and months. I mean, particularly as we get more data on how the partnership is actually performing, are they hitting those security and efficiency targets? We'll have to wait and see.
Okay, so let's zoom out even further now. BigBear.ai is obviously operating in a very specific space. It's this competitive field of AI and analytics.
It is. And it's getting more crowded all the time.
It really is. Yeah. And as we said earlier, they're really focused on providing these decision intelligence solutions, which is a fancy way of saying they use AI to analyze data and help organizations, primarily in defense, national security, and enterprise, to make more informed decisions.
That's right. And it's a big market with a lot of potential, but it also means a lot of competition.
Absolutely. Now, in terms of size, BigBear.ai, it has a market cap somewhere between $744 million and $857 million.
Yeah.
Which means it's still considered a smaller cap company.
Right. And that means it can offer investors potentially higher growth, but also higher risk compared to those big established players in the AI field.
Right. And then that kind of leads us into something that's a little bit of a red flag, at least initially, and that's their price to earnings ratio. Right now, it's actually negative.
It is. And that does raise some questions about their current profitability.
Right. So it basically means they're not making a profit at the moment.
Yeah.
Or they're actually losing money.
Yeah.
Which isn't necessarily a deal breaker for a company focused on growth and innovation.
Especially in a field like AI, where development costs can be significant.
Right, exactly. But it does mean investors need to really pay attention to the company's plans for reaching profitability and, when they expect to turn things around.
Absolutely. Because at some point, potential needs to translate into actual earnings.
Right. So let's dive into that technical analysis you mentioned,
Sure.
which looks at things from a different angle.
Exactly. We're looking at the numbers, charts, trends, trying to see what story the data is telling.
Right. And what is it telling us right now?
Well, in the short term, we're seeing that decline in the stock price. It's down about 1.33%.
Okay.
But the long-term view, that's where things get really interesting. We talked about those 52-week highs and lows earlier. That huge difference between them, that just reinforces the volatility we've been discussing.
It does.
It also tells us that this stock is not for the faint of heart. It can move sharply in either direction.
Right. So what about trading volume? Are people buying and selling a lot?
Yeah. The average trading volume is pretty high historically, around 48.87 million shares. But right now it's much lower, closer to 3.46 million. And that suggests maybe less active trading at the moment. Could be a sign that investors are taking a wait-and-see approach, given those recent developments.
Makes sense. Now, the technical analysis also mentions some key indicators, specifically the 50-day and 200-day moving averages. What can you tell us about those?
Yeah, those are important. They essentially smooth out the daily price fluctuations so we can see the underlying trend. And right now, the stock price is actually below both of those averages.
And what does that indicate?
Well, generally it's considered a bearish signal.
Okay.
It suggests that there might be some downward momentum.
So given all of that, the technical analysis recommends a hold for now. Why is that?
Yeah.
I mean, why hold when the indicators are suggesting a downward trend?
Yeah, right. Well, it comes down to the fact that there are a lot of factors at play. We have that inherent volatility. But we also have this potential for positive developments, like the partnership with SoftPoint, to drive future growth. So it's kind of this balancing act, the short-term risk indicated by the technicals versus that longer-term potential based on innovation in a rapidly growing market.
Right. So essentially, they're saying to just keep an eye on things for now.
Exactly. Look for signs of a rebound in the stock price or any positive news in their upcoming earnings reports. Those could be signals that it might be time to buy.
Okay. So pulling this all together, it seems like there's this really interesting tension here. You have those technical indicators suggesting caution, but then you have this possibility of long-term growth driven by those real-world applications of their AI technology, like the facial recognition we discussed earlier. And this raises a fundamental question. How much weight do you personally give to those short-term technical signals versus the potential of long-term innovation when you're evaluating a company?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And honestly, there's no easy answer. It depends on your individual risk tolerance, your investment goals, and how much faith you have in the company's ability to execute its vision. But I will say that understanding both sides of the coin, both the technicals and the fundamentals, is crucial for making informed decisions, especially in a dynamic and constantly evolving field like AI.
I completely agree. Okay, so to recap for you, BigBear.ai is operating in a volatile space, and we've seen some recent price dips. But that move to integrate AI facial recognition into payment systems, that's a really interesting development, and it just highlights their active role in this growing industry. It's definitely a company to keep an eye on.
I agree. And it really underscores how diverse factors can influence a company's trajectory, especially in the tech world, where innovation and market forces are constantly interacting.
Absolutely. We hope this has given you a clearer picture of what's happening with BigBear.ai based on everything you shared with us. For more insights and to stay updated on our analyses, please subscribe, like, and comment.